What is up, crypto hackers? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto. It has been about 6 months since my previous video. Took some time off, relaxed, got to spend time with my kids, my family, after going through selling my company Sandstorm. And this era of crypto is super important. There was a huge liquidation, the largest liquidation event in history that just took place. So I got hundreds of messages from subscribers, not only asking me where I've been, but also just about this event. And I think it's important to make a little video about this and come back nice and slowly back into the space and take my time and make more content over the coming months. So first, let's talk about the liquidation event and who it really affects. So what has happened previously is when something like an FTX explosion happens and different exchanges implode, usually this is when leverage is in play. So when they rehypothecate funds, where people are putting money into these exchanges to custody their funds, they're trading numbers on the screen and using leverage. Often what will happen is if the exchange is also participating in lending out money and things like that, like what FTX was doing, they were doing a little bit more of a Ponzi situation. But ultimately, if you're moving customer funds out and the price collapses really quickly, like a Luna situation, all of the exchanges are at risk. And this is when the famous saying, not your keys, not your coins, is super important and the most key factor of the crypto space. Sovereignty and self-sovereignty was really what got me into the space over a decade ago, and understanding that, it is a key ingredient to what crypto stands for and how it started. And things have changed a lot. ETFs have changed the game. Big custodians like Fidelity and all of these huge corporations buying it, putting it on their balance sheet is insane and crazy to think that we've come so far. And ultimately, this is when that sovereignty piece kind of rises back up in importance, where you have companies like Ledger and Trezor that build these hardware wallets for days like the one that just happened. And it is tragic when people are losing hundreds of millions and billions of dollars cumulatively. But when people are losing all of this money that they've really risked and it's gone up over time and they're holding it on these exchanges, it is a kind of terrifying event. Who is at risk for these things outside of exchanges, the custodians? The important part here is to mention the people that always get wrecked are traders. Traders, people that are actively trading, they are the ones who participate in the trading swings up and down, so they get wrecked always. It is very rare that people are making a ton of money. You see it on social media, but they are getting wrecked during the ups and downs. And this last one, this flash of losing billions and billions of dollars, is a great example of how the traders are the ones that get wrecked. The founders who are building businesses and launching their tokens that are attached to their businesses are getting wrecked. And the most common person that is succeeding in the space, again, is the hodlers, the people who hold, people that are buying and sitting on a stack. This is time and time again, every single cycle this happens. Bob Lucas on YouTube is one of my favorite examples of this. And he only does a couple trades every few years. And he's been in Bitcoin for years in this cycle. And it's fun to watch how just calm and even keeled he is about it. And he's a good example of a hodler who is kind of a hybrid, where he hodls and he also does a couple trades of just Bitcoin. And I think that he does a really good job of articulating like how there can be a mix of a trader and a hodler. But ultimately, the people who sit on it and just have it as a savings account or a retirement account are the ones who win. So I wanted to mention those three buckets. Once again, you have your traders, they get wrecked every day. Everybody's a genius when it's going up, but when it goes south, it's not pretty to look at. And yesterday or this week was an example of how bad that was. The next one is the founders, the people who are building this space, moving it forward, get wrecked brutally. As a founder, I know this for a fact. It is very difficult, very difficult to operate in this space. And then the third one is the hodlers, the ones that succeed time and time again. It's proven over and over again. And those are the three key buckets. Now, the last point that I want to make, stress around cold storage. A lot of people out there that have been watching the channel and have been in the space for as long as me know that, if you hold it in cold storage, or if you're a hodler, once again, as I was mentioning, if you're going to stay around the space for a long time, hodling is the strategy to do. Borrowing against that stack is perfectly fine on things like Arch or Salt or some of these other lending platforms out there. They are a great way of borrowing against that stack and basically using it to do other financial moves. But I will say that the stress of holding your own keys and being responsible for your own destiny isn't for everybody. And it's important to mention that. Me 10 years ago would be totally against this sentiment, but that was before ETFs, huge custodian financial institutions are in play now with accepting crypto deposits like Fidelity. And I think that there's so many people that have changed this sentiment. They have started saying like, wow, once Bitcoin's at $1 million, it is, an extreme stress thinking about getting those funds moved around in any capacity. One cold storage wallet to another cold storage wallet, cold to hot, cold to an exchange, whatever it is. There's a lot of stress built into there. So what I wanted to share here is that you will feel that stress if you're holding your own keys, and that is a cost to think about and consider. So whether that's splitting funds between a custodian that you trust and your cold storage, or however you want to do it, that is up to you. Of course it is up to you, but I think that's part of the magic of this space. And I believe that hybrid, a mix, is truly how people find peace and how they are really enjoying the space and how it's changed their lives. So I would encourage people to do their research, as always, on finding a good partner that can help with that and just relieving some of that stress, because that is a human cost associated with this. So that is it for this video. I will see you guys here on the channel again soon. And once again, take a breath, go touch some grass. Crypto isn't everything. There is a life to be had. So enjoy it. And I will see you guys here on the next episode of Hack Crypto.